I wanted to talk about this big debate, cash flow or capital growth. What is better in a property portfolio? Now, if you understand the market cycles that properties go through, the fact is you can get both cash flow and capital growth at the same time. A lot of people prefer, generally this is how it works with cash flow and capital growth. Generally, if you're on a higher income, you are going to prefer a property that generates more capital growth. And if you're on a lower income, you should prefer a property that generates more cash flow. Why? Because when you buy a property, if you're on a low income and that property generates a high cash flow, it won't be as stressful for you to own that property as a first. And second of all, the fact that the property produces more cash flow in terms of high yielding, that will actually help you to get to the next investment property in terms of servicing. Now, I said at the start of the video, is cash flow or capital growth? For me, I always get both cash flow and capital growth. Now, if you're looking at investing in a property and you're looking at areas that have good capital growth, you're probably looking at areas that have anywhere from 7% capital growth to say 12 if they're super good capital growth. I'm talking about the average growth for these properties over a 20, 30, 50-year time horizon. And if you're looking for, and this is general, if you're looking for a cash flow property, you're looking anywhere between a 4 and a 6% capital growth rate per annum. But what you're getting along with that property is the cash flow. Now, with cash flow properties, a lot of people actually don't factor in how much net, especially on the capital growth properties, they don't factor in how much the property is costing them per year in holding costs, and how does that affect their overall ROI. And the same thing goes for people that are getting cash flow properties. They don't actually factor in with the cash flow and the capital growth together, what is the end ROI position? Look, I'm going to be very blunt here. Capital growth properties, like the general capital growth properties, generally will make you a lot more money over the long period, over the long time horizon, if you're not looking to be aggressive in your property portfolio journey or make a lot of moves. If you're just to buy one property and you can afford it to buy, and that's all you want to do, just buy one property, buying a property that generates a high capital growth is better. But is that what I do? Absolutely not. I look to aggressively build a large property portfolio as fast as I possibly can, and that draws me to properties that are getting as much capital growth as possible, but they're not necessarily capital growth properties, and they also get amazing cash flow. Now, how can I get both? How can I get both cash flow and capital growth? That actually the capital growth I look for is sometimes 20 to 30%, sometimes even 50% capital growth per year for a very short period of time. Obviously, when you're getting returns like that, they don't go on forever. But how do I get that? So the key thing to get both cash flow and capital growth is knowing how to identify markets with potential for capital growth that have good cash flows. So the markets that I identify, they are, or the places where I buy property, I'm buying below replacement cost. Obviously, the rent is enough to cover all the expenses in the mortgage, and these places are having and getting rental growth, and they are so affordable that after I buy them, generally the price of the property goes up, because it doesn't matter what interest rate environment you're in, if you are buying affordable properties, there's always room for these properties to grow. Okay, so it's a very sustainable sort of strategy. Now, as I said, these properties only go up at a very high rate for a short period of time. So you have to, if you want to continue growing your wealth at a fast rate, you have to be aggressive and continue buying these sort of properties. And that may mean you're buying in one market for a space of 2 or 3 years, but then after that, you have to look for a new market and constantly keep your money moving. But I guess that's the type of properties portfolio that I've built, and it is very stress-free in that as my property portfolio gets larger, as does my cash flow position, okay? And every time I buy a property, I'm able to get my deposit back very quickly because these properties are growing in capital growth very quickly. And I just refinance them with the new cash flow from the property rentals going up, and I continue going on and on and on. And at no point do I ever have to worry about saving for a deposit or supporting a loan or a maintenance or outgoing cost of the property, because as I said, the properties are cash flowing properties. So you can get both, and the key, if you're looking at getting both cash flow and capital growth, is look into market cycles and purchase in an area where it's been through a flat or a declining market cycle, and buy there when it's on its way up. Okay, hopefully that helped. See you guys next time.